Good afternoon. Today is Friday, August 12th, 2022. We're here taking the Denver and Rio Grande Western Rail Trail in Layton / Kaysville. Last time I rode this trail, right where you just saw me turn left, the last time I rode it, I turned right, and I did a two-part video riding all the way from Layton to Ogden. That was back in July 2022. Made for a nice ride. But today I want to capture the ride going toward the Salt Lake City area. We're not going to go to Salt Lake City, but we're going in that direction. Instead, we're going to stop once we get to Farmington, which is the next major city off of this bike route. Sometimes I wonder to myself, should I repeat the historical context? Not necessarily historical context, but the context that I've experienced on these trails in the past, because I've gone over them a little bit in videos before. Like, for example, this route goes really far, like well beyond Salt Lake City. Eventually it transitions into the Jordan River Parkway. And the great thing about this route is that it's basically flat the entire way. When I rode it going toward Ogden, I was pleasantly surprised that much of the route was tree-lined, just like you're seeing right now. The reason I was surprised is because prior to riding out toward Ogden, I had only ridden it to Salt Lake City going southbound. And once you get to a certain stretch, you kind of are in the middle of empty fields and the trail is just going through it, or you're riding alongside the highway. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I think the part that's really barren, meaning there's not much around you, I think that is after Farmington, closer to like Woods Cross and further toward Salt Lake, but before you get to Salt Lake. Because Layton to Farmington is not that far of a distance in the grand scheme of things. In terms of a bike ride on this trail, if I was going a fast pace, it was estimating about 32-minute ride on Google Maps. But if you're going from Farmington to Woods Cross, the reason I'm using Woods Cross as a description is because the Frontrunner train, I like to think of the stops that the Frontrunner train makes. It goes to Layton, then Farmington, then Woods Cross, and then the North Temple Station in downtown Salt Lake City. So the distance from Farmington to Woods Cross is always a lot further. Temperature today is 86 degrees. So a little warmer than I would have preferred for my ride, or perhaps a little later, since it's 2 in the afternoon. But I had some free time and figured might as well get out and do a bike ride. This is a case where you don't want to be like looking at your phone and assuming you're going to ride straight through the trail, because there's a slight detour where you go left. and then cross here. This is one of the few areas that actually has a crosswalk, because you are crossing a busy street. Oh, I'm not going right now because there's a, I don't know, it's a tricky thing. Oh, yeah, I don't. See, up here there's a red hand that says, they got to change that. There's a red hand that says, you know, don't cross. But then when you actually look at the sign, and by the way, see the horse on the left there? When you look at the actual sign on the button that you're pressing, it says it activates the blinking lights. So I didn't realize that at first. You know, I saw the red hand up and I'm thinking, oh, when I press this button, it's gonna trigger a traffic signal change. But no, I guess that one was just a flashing light. So kind of deceptive, not the safest, especially since I was just commenting how that's the busiest intersection that we'll probably encounter on this path. When I left for today's bike ride, I was debating, like, should I take the Frontrunner train to Farmington? Because I did want to kind of show the trail in Farmington that leads to the Bigfoot statue, which I did last year, but I didn't do I didn't have my chest mount to record the whole ride. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I'll ride to the Layton station, and if I happen to catch the train in time, I'll hop on there and save me some riding. But as I was like pulling up across the street from the station, waiting to cross traffic, I could see the train arriving. By the time I got over there, it was already pulling away. So I said, all right, guess I'll do a little extended ride. Looks like the bench there that used to be there on the left has been severed off somehow. We will still encounter other intersections. They're just not as busy. So this is the cross section of Webb Lane off of Flint Street. They do have the flashing lights button there as well. That's interesting. Right there on the left that we just passed up, they have that bike tools station. That may have been here in the past, but I don't recall seeing it. Trying to turn my chest to the right. I don't know if that's gonna work to give a view, but kind of a mix between houses and gardening. Yesterday was pretty nice. I got to do a walking tour, checking out murals in the downtown Ogden area. There was a rock climbing sculpture that I had never seen before there that extended pretty tall. And then I always knew that they had a lot of like sculpted horses, but I had mostly seen the ones that were on 25th Street. This time I got to look at a lot more of them that were tucked away between Grant Avenue and Washington Avenue, or Washington Boulevard rather. You can hear a biker coming behind me. So for speed perspective, I'm only going 11 miles per hour. I always say this, anytime I mention the speed, that is not a criticism at all. I'm just trying to give a baseline comparison. I'm going at a casual 11 miles per hour. They're going at a more intense, that's probably like 15, 16 miles per hour, or even more maybe. Most of the time when I ride, my goal isn't necessarily to get a workout in. I think the workout is always a nice bonus, of course. But I'm content with the workout of just a ride at this pace. This is sort of what I was talking about, how you get to a certain point and let me try to angle my chest to the left there. I don't know how good of a view you're getting, but you can see the mountains on that side. There are houses in the distance, but right now we're surrounded by more fields and grass. And I wouldn't even call this a field per se, because when we get even further down, like you won't see any houses because they'll be so far off the road, and the fields where the either crops or cattle are will be more evident. But you can already tell how there's not much shade once you get past a certain point. I did throw on some sunscreen, but that probably, if you're out in this too long, it's not gonna prevent you from getting red afterward. Beating a dead horse though about Utah weather, it truly does make a big difference when there's not the humidity factor, because yes, it's 86 degrees. Yes, I feel the sun on me, but I'm not mentally thinking to myself like, oh God, I'm having trouble breathing, or this is miserable. It's, yeah, I feel the sun beating on me, but it's still comfortable. And you feel a little bit of the wind or breeze hitting you. Just like yesterday when I started my walk in Ogden, I could have sworn that it was, to me it felt like it was like 76 degrees and very cool out. And then right before I started the video, because I always check the temperature so I can read it at the beginning of the video. Oh, I always say, like, I rarely see swimming pools. Someone has a swimming pool over there. I gotta take a quick snap of that. Yeah, so that pool is pretty cool to see. a lot of these backyards have pickleball courts or half court basketball, lots of trampolines. But I think before that I was talking about yesterday's weather. I thought it was going to be like 76 degrees, and I checked the forecast, or the weather.com, and it said that it was presently 86 at the time. And I was like, what? Although yesterday was more clouds in the sky shielding the sun. And actually, over there on this property on the right, it's covered. They have the pool covered, but there is a giant swimming pool there as well. I'm just looking to my right, even if the camera's not capturing them. I'm seeing several houses with swing sets. Someone had, there's another pool that's covered. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe when I come by, these pools are all covered and I don't realize it. Right here is Western Drive. So according to Google Maps, we've got 3.5 miles, which is about 19 minutes until we get to Farmington Station. Because I'm doing this longer ride, I'll have to see whether I venture up to the Bigfoot statue like I did last year. It's a really cool picture opportunity and fun little thing to go up to, but just have to see how the weather feels, because once you get there, you're in the focused sun and climbing uphill. If there's one thing that will make you feel extra overheated on a day like this is when you're going uphill with no shade in the area to duck for cover. A lot of birds flying out of the trees back there. We are getting back into a little bit of tree coverage here. I guess depending on the time of day, you would get more shade relief depending on how high or low the sun is and what direction it's angling from. But right now it's like straight above you, so there's not much you can do to avoid it unless you're right up against or underneath a tree like this where it's draped over the path. This might be the last shade for a while, so I'm gonna hydrate. Got my water bottle right on the bike. So this is Burton Lane here. Looks like they're waving me on. I don't know how much you can see the perspective, but we are like, hello, we're like above the houses that are on both ends. There's houses on the right, but on the left it's more so one big field. We saw the same thing going toward Ogden. As far as the elevation, it's like this bike path consistently just stays flat, so you're not having to go up and down hills. The elevation change you do see is to the left and right of you. Oh, on the right side here, even though it's not set up right now, it almost looks like, I wonder if that could have been like a batting cage at one point. The tall poles, and if someone would put a net up there, that would make a great batting cage. But I don't know, because there was no net up right now. I distinctly remember this part of the trail. Well, first I should mention that now the elevation, like we're back in kind of a community. The elevation on both sides is flush with the trail at K Circle. The reason I remember this is because you've got this field on the right, and it's not marked by the sign of like, oh, this is a park, but they have two soccer nets. So it always made me wonder, like, is this did like the house that owns this lot, if there is a house, because I don't know, there's a fence there, but maybe this house owns that property, or maybe it's just underused or unused, and someone threw a couple of soccer goals up there. No street sign posted here, but I'm trying to remember to read street signs if possible. I also remember this spot because this is usually we ride a lot before we cross the next street. This is sort of a triangle, kind of unique how there's only one property on the left here in a triangular shaped grass, and then the roads kind of cross with it. You can see the tree here is a little bit over the trail here, so you have to go to the side a little bit. I'll make sure this person passes first. This is 350 East. So I looked left and right and we're clear. This one does not have the button mechanism. Now remember, just a few minutes ago we were like above the houses. I don't want to say that we're quite below them because the ones on the right are a little bit flush, but we're kind of below the main part of the ground a little bit. I was talking about batting cages earlier. There's a batting cage right there. Or if it's not a batting cage, it's a net to prevent a soccer ball from going further. Well, that was I passed it up fast, but there was a little arrow to the right here that pointed downward and it said trail. So what the heck? It made it sound like there's like a little trail you could go under the ground with. That doesn't seem right though, because I don't see anything else over here. Unless it's just a trail for like a utility line. It looks like they're developing some more houses here on the right, expanding this area. Whoa. Or maybe they're not. I don't know if they're expanding or if they're just excavating the. Actually, let me pause here and get a shot. So I'm turning my bike so you guys can see the mountains. And this is what I was talking about, how you get to a spot and there's completely nothing but a big open field. There's also Lagoon amusement park that I can start to see, which means we're getting closer to Farmington Station. Farmington Station is the big shopping area which we'll be passing through. I might get something to eat or drink down there as well. I think it's natural to wonder, like, one day are people going to come by here and like all this empty land that we looked at the left, if it's not farmland, is it just going to become a boatload of houses? Because I feel like that's happened with a lot of other areas. There's a short street right here. On the right side here is a model or miniature train area. I think what I've read in the past is that it's like a kids train museum of some kind, but I've always gotten conflicting messages with whether or not it's actually open and functional anymore. One thing's for sure though is that it is definitely maintained, and in the past I have seen workers working on it. But I've yet to see like customers or guests going into it. And there's a sprinkler down there. The sign says Short Line Railroad, I believe. But the gate over here is secured. The park is closed. I know it says the park is closed, but I'm not sure what else the fine print says. So we kind of have one more long stretch here, and we should be approaching Farmington Station. Let's see what time it is. I probably could have. Yeah. What's funny is I could have waited for the next train and caught it and been here a tad sooner. But I'm the type of person that doesn't like to idle if I don't have to. The train runs every hour, and it did not take me an hour to get here, but after I saw the one train being passed by, I kind of just found a shady spot before the video started, pulled over, and was checking some stuff out on my phone before I ended up doing the bike ride portion and the video. It doesn't seem unusual that you have the big Farmington Station over there to our left, but yet on our immediate left it's still a big open like farmland. I wouldn't be surprised if a developer came along and made an offer they couldn't refuse and just continued to build up houses here. They've done it on up ahead here. Looks like townhomes that are relatively new looking. And you see more are being built, but everything's on the other side of the street, not where this farmland property is. Strange, so my video just stopped by itself. I wonder if it overheated, because we are in the focused sun. So I just resumed it again. If I hear the beeping noise of the video stopping, I may have to pull over to a cooler spot. Maybe a good excuse for me to also find a fast food place with some air conditioning and cool this down. All right, so the trail to Salt Lake would continue that way. But we're going to make a left turn here. This is sort of the back way to Farmington, which you're not going to see many vehicles come this way. But I always found it cool that there's a Farmington Station sculpture over here with the horses. And also signage indicating that the city of Farmington was established in 1847. I got off the bike for a moment so that I could... Yeah, my video stopped again. So I'm gonna guess that it's too hot. So let me still show this while I can. You got the Farmington sculpture here. I'm grabbing a picture. And then we are going to ride over to the Farmington Station area. But I will probably make a pit stop before I do a tour, because clearly this camera needs to cool down. More bronze looking horse sculptures here. This is the back end, again, going into Farmington. Looks like if you want to take a Frontrunner bus, one of the pickup spots is over here. There are probably other pickup spots around the station park as well. Let me think where I want to eat today. There's a Habit Burger over there. And then there's also, I think, a Blaze Pizza somewhere over here. Yeah, this is Blaze Pizza. So I will go ahead and ponder for a second where I want to eat. Alright, so I opted to go to Blaze Pizza, get a pie with 2 toppings, pepperoni and sausage. Got my brownie, lemonade, and getting ready to eat now. Alright, just finished my Blaze Pizza. Camera's cooler now, but it's probably not a good idea for me to do that trail portion that goes out by Bigfoot, because like I said, that will be in the focus sun again, and I've already seen several times the camera was acting up on that long trail in the sun. And right now it is the hottest part of the day, about 90 degrees, and it's gonna pretty much stay that way. So maybe instead we can just circle the Farmington Station area because I saw that the next train, Frontrunner train, comes at 4:22, which is about 50 minutes from now. So we're going to go underneath this alleyway because that'll kind of take us into the area where the traffic is less concentrated and it's more so various shops. There's a Barnes & Noble on my right. I know I've done, I think I did tour this area last year a bit, just not while riding my bike. I think I parked the bike and walked around a little. In fact, I think I'm going to get up and walk right now because too much foot traffic, unless you're going in the street. But there's a lot of clothing shops here. I know somewhere there's an Old Navy, Victoria's Secret up ahead. See, there's a Forever 21 down there. There's also some food places like It's Sugar, a place called Buckle here on the right. I'm headed toward the Fountain Square area because it's always nice to get a look at the fountain. It'll also be interesting to see if we have any more of these food court areas open in the pavilion. Just from trying to look through, it looks like this area of the food pavilion is still not open. Oh, but the fountain is shooting upward right now, so. I think at the top of every hour they also play like music to go along with the fountain. And at nighttime there's also lights underneath each stream of water, so you kind of see a light show as well. Then over here on the right side you've got some mini shops or kiosks across the way on that other food eats and treats pavilion. That one should still be open. I believe there's like a place where you can get a mixed drinks, like mixed multiple flavors of pop together. And you've also got some nice peaceful seating area here with the umbrella providing shade. Lots of different sculptures around with some, probably can't tell because of the camera angle, but they have some descriptions. Like this one is called Imagine. Maybe the whole thing is, because it says Imagine is a collection of whimsical sculptures designed to encourage the dreaming of impossible dreams. Yeah, Waffled is the one place in this food pavilion. And FVZ Drinks is the other one. And you've got a shaded pavilion here with some seating area. Sometimes they do like musical shows, so it says Rock the Park, July through August, Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. in Fountain Square. So little musical performances that they put on. Last year I butchered the pronunciation of this store so much, and I'm probably going to do it again. But I'm going to guess Teton Toys. I included in my video a little tour of the inside of it. It was really cool. So if you want to see a little bit of the inside of that store, check out last year's video. We've got some animals, stuffed animals in the window display, but they've got a big selection of toys in there and I mean, it's a big size store. Not the size of like an old Toys R Us would be, but it certainly seemed like they had a very wide-ranging selection of toys. And then all the way on the right, you have more of your traditional strip mall stores like Petco, Famous Footwear, Maurice's, Harmon's, REI. Homegoods, Ross, Dress for Less, Marshalls, and Best Buy. And it's always unique when you're in this environment because, you know, in the background you see just the huge mountains gazing in front of you. And even some of Lagoon Amusement Park is also in the background. Also a Nike store. Further on down, they put a Chick-fil-A in. And there's some other developments going on, but I think the other new developments down there are more so housing units. Here's 338. I believe I said 422 is when the next train comes. I'm on the other side of where we were walking earlier, so Fountain Square would be down there. There's the Apple store on this side, H&M. The Old Navy I was referencing earlier, and then just around the bend up here is Columbia. Trying to decide. I'm thinking I may want to pop into Homegoods. Sometimes it's nice to check out whether they have any seasonal decorations. I know we're still in August here and Halloween's the next big holiday coming up, but sometimes if they have those new holiday themed things, you got to get there early on before the crowd buys all the goodies up. This is what's always so cool about Homegoods. I was right. They already have the Halloween decorations ready. So that was a nice peek at Halloween decorations. Now I'm probably going to get ready to go to the bike because it's 4:01 right now, and then head to Farmington Station. Oh, sorry, the Farmington Station Frontrunner train. Alright, so unlocked the bike after leaving Homegoods. I parked it near the, oh man, God, the seat is burning up. Parked it near the Ross Dress for Less store. Handlebars are burning too. When I do the trail that goes out by Bigfoot behind Lagoon one day, and I record it in its entirety, I'll make sure that it's either A, early in the morning when it's still cool, but then B, I'd say both of these, so A and B. I don't know what that car was beeping for there, but B, I would also take the Frontrunner train. But at least now I'm going to ride to that Frontrunner station, show where it's at and how to get to it. You have to get over to the platform by taking either a bunch of stairs or an elevator. I think there's also an escalator, but I can't quite remember for sure.
I'll tell you.
But even if there was, I'm not going to put the bicycle on escalator. This is Nordstrom Rack on my right. Chick-fil-A is far on the left there. And then the rest of this parking over here is kind of focused on the UTA bus and transit system. So earlier I was talking about the buses that come here. I believe they also loop over to this area here. I think the platform for bikes is this way. You know, I still have a little bit of time to kill, so maybe I can show or discover how to get to this trail. I wonder if there's a drop off over here, because there's another bicycle trail that goes behind Farmington Station, and I think eventually it meets up. See right there what I'm talking about? You can't get, I mean, you could easily walk up there, but I don't know if there's a dedicated like curb drop off, maybe further down that way. I need to figure out where that trail begins. I think it goes maybe closer to the mountains and eventually converges with the Jordan River Parkway. So no escalator here. It's just the stairs or the elevator. Like I said, the only reason I'm doing this ride around detour here is because I want to see if there's a distinct pathway. Oh, here it is. Okay. So you know what? If I did decide to ride to Farmington again, maybe I could take this trail, because this one I have never taken before. You can see at least at this part, it's nice and paved. There's the Frontrunner station over there, and you can see where it goes off to. I'll have to check that myself on Google Maps, because I almost forgot that alternative route existed. About 10 minutes until the train comes. So now we're on the bridge. That's the area we were just looking at, that bike path, and of course all the shops and stores at Farmington Station. Debating whether I should hang out up here for a couple minutes, because it doesn't look like there's a lot of shade down there. I forget what track 1 versus 2 and 3 are. See how they have it where this one makes it look like you could board from either side, but there's also a track on the left there. It says track 1. I wonder whatever. All right, well, the speaker, I don't know if you could hear it, but the speaker just said all trains will board from platform 3. And I see the one person who was standing at platform 1 appears to be walking. Maybe they're getting ready to leave platform 1. So I guess I'm probably going to end the video right here. Like I said, I'm going to go down and catch the train there, but I'm going to hang out here for about 4 or 5 more minutes. It makes sense. I mean, this is a great breeze coming up here. There's no sun on me whatsoever. And why go down there and roast in the sun for a few extra minutes? As always, if you enjoyed this ride, even though we couldn't get the full ride in to see Bigfoot, feel free to hit the like button, give us a subscribe, and we will see you next time.
The next station is Layton.